The next thing we need to do is to create a list of this content. Let's go back to the wireframe of that. This was our 5th step, tour types wireframe. In Drupal, to create a list of content, almost all of the time you're going to use a module called Views, which comes with core Drupal. Views is extremely powerful and flexible, and you'll find it's probably the single most complicated piece of configuration in Drupal. Once you get used to it, creating basic lists of content is very easy to do. In this case, what we want to do is list the tour types in a particular way that's a little different than the way that they display on their individual pages. So we're going to use a view to do this. I'm going to go back to our site, and we're going to go to Structure, Views. This lists all of the views that are currently being used on the site, and this can be interesting to look at. Basically, every time you see a list of content, it's being created by views. Our homepage, for example, is created by the front page view here. That's the one that we are overriding now. What we want to do now is to create a new view for our tour types. This first part is a wizard that sets up basic settings for our view. So it accelerates the process that would normally be taken to complete the basic steps of setting it up. So we'll fill this out. For the name, we're going to call it tour types. For the view settings, we're going to show content. You can see that there's a list of other options here, and we'll talk about some of those later. We want to do just tour types, and let's sort it alphabetically by title. In this case, we want to create a page. We'll leave the page title at tour types, like what it is in our wireframe. We'll leave the path for now. And in the display format, we'll leave it as unformatted list. You can see that we can also choose table, HTML list, or grid. But instead of teasers, we're going to select fields. By choosing fields, we can select which fields we want to view in which way and in which order, which gives us a lot of flexibility over the output. For items to display, this is allowing us to split it up into multiple pages. In this case, there's not going to be enough tours to justify that. So I'm going to set this to a large number, and I'm going to uncheck Use a Pager. We'll leave the other options at their defaults and click Save and Edit. Right here is the most intimidating part of views. It's a summary of all of the settings that are available for this view. Let's look briefly at what the wizard gave us in terms of configuration. You can click on any of the links here to change the setting that it represents. Let's look at what the wizard gave us. First of all, it gave us a title. It set our format to an unformatted list and set it to show fields. It added a single field by default for the title. So if we look down here at a preview, you can see that the title is being displayed. Let's scroll up. It adds some filters. So first it says the publishing status is yes. So that means it's only showing published content. By default, the wizard will add this filter because it assumes that you don't want to show unpublished content, which in 90% of the cases you don't. And it also added a filter for our content type. That was what we selected earlier. We said we wanted only tour types to show. We told it to sort by title, so that shows up here under sort criteria, but it's sorting it descending. If we look at the preview here, it goes SPEDC. We want it to go the other direction. So let's click on this. And we can change the order right here. Instead of sort descending, let's sort ascending. I'll click apply. And now if we look at the preview, you can see that it's being ordered alphabetically ascending. Under page settings, it's set our path to tour types, and it's set to not display a pager. So a lot of our work is already done for us. In fact, let's take a look at our tour types page. First, we need to save this view. And then in a new window, let's open up tour types. I'm going to copy the URL. I'll duplicate this tab. I'll paste the URL in here. And you can see a list of our tour types.